Thank you for joining us for tonight's council meeting. I'm calling the Monday night, August 3rd, 2020 meeting to order. And please join the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Daniel Finley of the First Baptist Church will offer our invocation.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Let's pray. Father, we come to you. Thank you again for the privilege to continue to meet via this technology, given all that we're facing. Lord, thank you for even this weekend as you protected us from what could have been a difficult storm. But we're praying for those that are up in the Carolinas that might face some severe effects from this. Lord, pray you'll continue to be good to us as a city as we walk through these times. Lord, 2020 has certainly been a challenge for us, but we continue to trust in you to give us your wisdom, to give us your counsel. And so, Lord, I pray that all who are here in this meeting tonight, that we've been making some important decisions, Lord, they will seek you first for your wisdom, your guidance, and that through it, Lord, not only would you be glorified, but Father, this city that would be blessed as we trust in you. Lord, we ask this all in your name. Amen.
Amen.
And if we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Kowski, will you call roll for me, please?
Mayor Lake.
Here.
Vice Mayor Hart.
Here.
Councilman Brown is present. Councilwoman Kelly is also present. And Councilman Peoples
Here.
is also present. You have a quorum, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. We'll go to agenda item number 1. It's the emergency order, local state of emergency. Is there a motion to continue the order?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Brown, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. Ms. Wachowski, do you have any public comment cards this evening?
We do have one. Who is still on hold. We have Miss Sue Plaster. Miss Sue, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. If you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, Sue Plaster, 85 Southeast Forest Street. That's Forest Street in Keystone Heights.
Okay, go ahead with your comment, please.
Okay. Well, I also live here, but I work for CB Isaac Realty as a realtor. And I'll also be 90 this year, so I feel like I can speak properly for the elderly. But some of us want, to open another community center located in the Fellowship Hall at Champion's Heart Building, the one behind the BBVD Bank. And as the other original senior center is running at top capacity when all this happened, at least. And you could tell by the parking that you talked about, but they serve really good meals there. It's really upgraded. I've been going some 10 years there, so it's a big improvement. But we also noticed that another one was needed so we could spread out that parking and, serve the whole community. And also the RV park that's going to be opening November 1st. But we plan to open a little longer hours from 8 to 4 and for more varied ages. Some younger people have problems that need a place like they could mix with the other people. And we plan to have, like we've had all along, the planned activities all day long. And also, we have plans to feed the lunches to the homeless students at the high school. And we do have a bus of our own to drive. It holds 21. And so those people will be dropped off during the day. And there'll be others dropped off by family members. So that also will help. All the people there won't actually be parking there, but we are planning to have a new park. What? Also what? Yeah.
Ms. Plaster?
But then there will be some that, will be driving their own cars, and we'll plan to have a brand new, pretty parking lot for those people. But we really feel both centers, are needed. We're not trying to stop one. We want them to do well. I probably will attend some myself, but I know Wednesdays, for instance, for sure, I would be at the new one because they have the activities that go longer, which I play with the ladies and men that play bridge on Wednesday afternoon, so I would actually be there to eat before that. But we just really think there's a need for more, and for the two of them, and they should work all together actually. So I just wanted you to know we weren't trying to put them out of business at all. We just think there's more. We'll be very happy to have the Bradford and Putnam County people also. But I just wanted to tell you we're just a friendly group that thinks that more is needed. We got a growing community here. We're supposed to get 25,000 more in the next 10 years, which is what I learned up there at a meeting up there. So that kind of put the scare in me for needing more of everything. That's why I'm even trying to bring more franchises in. So anyway, that was most of what I wanted to say. I just wanted everybody to know that we weren't trying to, stop one group to start another one. We just wanted to have both. And that would be it. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Plaster. I believe that's all the public comments that we have for this evening.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you. Thank you, Ms. Plaster.
Oh, all right.
Agenda item number 3, resolution ordinances and public hearings. We have an ordinance 2020-586, fiscal year ending 2019-2020, budget amendments. Is there a motion to read by short title?
I make a motion to read by short title.
Thank you, Mr. Peoples. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Commando, would you read 2-20-586 for us, please, by short title?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Ordinance 2020-586, an ordinance for the purpose of amending the final budget for the city of Keystone Heights, Florida, for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2019, and ending September 30th, 2020, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Ms. Rakowski?
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. I do have a screen share, and then this is also in your packet. The Budget and Finance Committee met last week, went through the budget amendments, and so these are recommended changes from the Budget and Finance Committee, and I'll go through them budget by budget, line by line. The first one on your screen, I apologize, I turned it into a PowerPoint late this afternoon, is the Lakes budget. And so in order to make up for some of the difference of revenue loss that we are having this year, it was recommended from the Budget and Finance to keep back the $7,661.31 from the annual transfer that we move to bring the Lakes budget up to $50,000 at the beginning of each fiscal year, to keep that into general funds. So you see that reflected here in the Lakes budget as a negative $7,000. That will keep our Lakes fund at about $41,000 this year after all of our expenses. Are there any questions on the Lakes budget?
Any questions? I don't see everyone's on screen, so I'll do a roll call. Mr. Brown, any questions?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Kelly? No. Mr. Hart?
No.
Mr. Peoples?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. You want to go to the next budget, please, Ms. Bukowski?
Absolutely. The next budget that we're going to be talking about is going to be our CRA. And this is what's on the screen. So if you see at the top of the line, we have an addition of $19,625.98 on top of our budget transfer of $22,886.46. This is we're playing catch up from 2 years prior. The transfer from the general fund didn't make it into the CRA, so this is just monies really taken from reserves that should have gone into the agency's budget 2 years ago. We're doing some cleanup now. Apparently the county is doing it as well because we have an additional $21,000 in revenue coming from the county. Our interest this year, due to the renegotiations from Mr. Cornegay before he had left, we're bringing in an additional $540. So those are the budget amendments for our revenue side. The only other amendment within our CRA is on page 2. The aesthetic grant that was originally for the lights downtown is being asked to change into a beach grant to rejuvenate our Keystone Beach with the addition of fairy lights and better lighting, as well as grills and just a refurbish on our picnic area. Are there any questions on this agency's budget?
I'll do a roll call again. Mr. Brown, I see you. Mr. Brown, would you like to go first?
I have nothing.
Okay. Mr. Hart?
No questions.
Mr. Peoples?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Kelly?
No.
Okay. Next, Ms. Bukowski?
Moving on to our general fund, this gets a little bit more cumbersome, so we'll take it slowly. You'll see on the first page, we are looking at some estimated loss in revenue for our total tax line. This is due to the coronavirus, the COVID-19, some of the communications tax and the gas tax being lost, for a total loss of revenue of $21,000 this year. Now please understand that these numbers in red are estimated, as we're just now starting to see these numbers come in from 2 months ago. So we're starting to see this trend. Going down to the state shared revenue, we're looking at a loss of $10,857. This is largely due to the half-cent sales tax. And again, these are all estimated as we're starting to see revenues come in from 2 months ago. In yellow, our yellow is going to be our budget amendments for this year. We have the CARES Act, which we didn't anticipate when we drafted the budget. And so we have an income of approximately $250,000 from the two interlocal agreements that is in your packet. We're showing that this is coming in, and then we're also showing it going right back out. However, we just needed a placeholder within our budget. We anticipate that we will not be spending the $750,000 this year, some of that will carry forward into next fiscal year. We also have a miscellaneous income of $11,750. This is due to grant funding that we had received it's reimbursement funding for hurricanes of previous years. Are there any questions on page 1 before I move on to page 2?
No?
I have nothing.
Madam Mayor, would you like me to go page by page, or do you want me to do a summary of everything before questions?
Why don't we do a summary? I haven't heard many questions, and if they can just jot them down as you go through your presentation, they can ask them at the end.
Absolutely. The next, so we're now dealing with a $1.5 million budget due to the CARES Act. However, you'll see that our revenue difference is about $730,000. So if you take out that CARES Act, we're looking at a loss of about $20,000. And then, so we're in good shape comparatively speaking, or considering what's going on right now. Our next budget amendment is going to be the unemployment compensation. We're going to back out that $6,500 that we anticipated on spending in hopes that nobody gets hurt. We don't want anybody hurt. And then if someone does, we do have to pay unemployment, then we'll budget that back in. After speaking with our auditor and our accountant, that's not something that we want to factor in and tie up our resources for that. Next page, you'll see the counterpart to our community redevelopment agency budget transfer, that $19,000. Again, that's something that was put into our reserves that really needs to be taken out and put into the agency's budget. You'll also see the line item for $750,000 as an expense for the CARES Act. And then you'll also see that we're keeping the $7,661.31 in for the Lakes account. That brings our total expenses to $1.5 million roughly, and we're looking at about a $20,000 deficit, which is our agency's part of the budget, and so that's something that should be transferred from our reserves. And that's it for the budget amendments. The rest is just anticipated revenue loss. If you look down further on that page, we're looking at probably a loss of $28,997 in our infrastructure account. Again, these are gas tax dollars that are specifically designated for our CIP. And then because of the project carry forward of last year, the two intersections, my apologies, the two intersections plus Patty Street resurfacing, and that carried over into this fiscal year. We did not spend all of our roadway resurfacing project. I'd like to budget that into this fiscal year so that we can move forward with the Azalea Place repaving project. And that's all I have for our budget amendments.
And is there any discussion or any questions from council?
I just have
No.
I'm sorry. I just have one question. Lynn, you referred to a line regarding unemployment comp, but then you said hopefully no one will be hurt or injured. Should that be workman's comp?
Yes, I'm sorry. That would be workman's compensation, not
Okay.
unemployment compensation.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. Brown? Mr. Peoples?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Kelly?
No.
Okay. Then I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2020-586. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Is there a second? Mr.
I'll
Peoples?
second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. All right, we're down to appointments. The first appointment is the Keystone Heights Airport Authority, seat 1. We have one application. Is that correct, Ms. Witkowski?
That is correct, Madam Mayor.
Did you want to elaborate, or are there any questions from council about this applicant? No? Is there a motion to appoint Mr. Scott Cornegay as the seat 1 member?
So I'll move.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Peoples. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. We have a second seat, the Camp Landing seat. Ms. Captain McDowell has applied for that seat. Any questions about this applicant?
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion to appoint Captain McDowell as the Camp Landing seat on the Airport Authority?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Peoples. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. So
Aye.
congratulations, Maria and Mr. Kirkland. You have 2 members. We're moving on to agenda item 5. Senior
Madam,
member.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't unmute quick enough. We appreciate that. And just as a point of reference, Captain McDowell will be taking Major Brother's place or seat because he's retiring. So we thank Colonel Zinko for filling that position and getting that information to City Council for their approval. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Rakowski, would you like to take care or begin agenda item 5, the CARES update?
Absolutely, Madam Mayor. So items A, B, and C, if you'll remember at the last meeting, council gave me the authority to execute anything regarding the CARES Act, and so I'm bringing in front of you tonight the interlocal agreement for $225,000, which is all of the city's needs to bring ourselves up to a point to either recover our expenses from COVID-19 and then also prevent the spread of COVID-19. So those are the things that we've discussed: the purchases of touchless restrooms, automatic doors, things of that nature. And then also in there is a contract that is to be executed in the amount of $550,000, and that was also something that I have discussed with everybody about the pavilion renovation, bringing it into a secondary food distribution site. And then the purchase order for the $28,000 for the 22 laptops and docking stations, half of which will belong to the city and the other half are going to the airport authority, so that at any given time staff is able to work remotely. We can better accommodate virtual meetings and really be able to handle this in a much better fashion. So those items have already been executed, but those will be brought in front of you every month to keep you updated. So are there any questions on items A, B, or C?
No.
Okay. Item D is Shear Construction Pavilion renovations. In front of you tonight, you see a letter from Shear Construction. I do have Mr. Wilcox and Mr. Kirkpatrick, who's is on the line. There they are. And so, if you recall, when we did our electronic sign, our parking lot, and then the renovation for the Public Works facility, we piggybacked off of the contract from the Santa Fe College. We would like to do the same for a design build for our pavilion renovation, because we are under such strict timelines that these monies have got to be spent by November 15th. This way it'll help cut that process down. They have put in their letter of engagement as well as the bid, and so if there's any questions regarding this, I myself or Mr. Wilcox or Mr. Kirkpatrick is here to answer them.
Awesome.
Well, I have a couple of questions, more of a housekeeping nature. Are you going to be looking for input from the Heritage Commission? If so, I would suggest that Don Morgan be your contact person, since he's an architect and he's worked on this project before.
I absolutely will. So I had that conversation earlier this afternoon with Mr. Kirkpatrick. When it comes to design, that we'll sit down with Mr. Morgan and the chairperson of the Heritage Commission. I believe that's still Miss Hart.
That's right.
And to have those conversations to best fit within our budget and the historic nature of that building.
Yeah, she is suggesting that you work with Don because he is an architect. Second thing, you mentioned this will be a food distribution center. It will not be exclusively a food distribution center. It will be more of a multiple use community center. Is that correct?
That is correct. So for the purpose of this build and for the funding that we're receiving, we're looking for a secondary food distribution when Lamb is stretched to the point to where they can no longer serve the capacity of this community because of the needs. We'll be able to open this up. When it's not being used as a food distribution center, we can continue on with it being as a community center or things of that nature.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. Brown?
I don't have a question. I do have a comment. I'm excited. This company, being that I work around Gainesville a lot, has done a lot of new construction in Gainesville, and their work is very superb, and I look forward to seeing what they're going to do to the pavilion.
Thank you.
Good. Mr. Peoples, any questions?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Kelly?
No.
Well, we're certainly excited. I was one of the people who worked down at the pavilion during COVID as we used it as a staging area, and I can share with you, we believe the upgrades are going to be sensational for our community, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing the progress too. Ms. Rakowski, if you would please, I'd like to be included on that committee as you look at design plans. If you would include me in the group.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So today, what you need from us is you need approval of this engagement letter. Is that what you would like? Mr.
Yes.
Commander?
Yes.
So having seen the letter, are there any questions about the letter or the terms of the letter? Mr. Hart, do you have any concerns about the letter?
No, I have no concerns. And as far as expediting this, I don't think we want to get bogged down in legal language, but perhaps the city attorney can take a glimpse of the contract before it's signed. That might be wise.
And
Yes, and Vice Mayor, I've looked at everything that they've put in the proposal so far.
Okay, thank you.
excellent. So seeing no questions and no other discussion, is there a motion to approve the engagement letter with Shearer Construction on the pavilion renovations?
So move.
Thank you. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. All right.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. We look forward to the progress.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
gentlemen.
We're on item 6, consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the July meeting, the financials of June, and the payables of June. Is there a motion to pass?
I'll make a motion to pass.
Thank you, Mr. Peoples. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes 5-0. We're under agenda item number 7, old business. Ms. Rakowski, is there an update on item A, Keystone Heights Police Protection?
No, ma'am, not at this time. I'm still working with Clay County Sheriff's Office to negotiate that price.
Okay. And again, Ms. Rakowski, item B, Trailhead plans and bid process. Did you want to take that on?
Yes, ma'am. Included in your packet tonight is the tally sheet for the bid opening for the Trailhead. As you can see, the project was budgeted at $150,000, and our low bid came in at $213,000. However, the low bidder was disqualified because they did not include 2 packets; they only included 1. With that being said, in conversations about some of the loss of revenue and how the funding's being restructured right now due to the CARES Act, it was staff's recommendation to the Budget and Finance Committee to reject all bids, and we will revisit this come January 1st once all of our funds have come back to us from the CARES Act and we have put everything back where it belongs.
Any questions of the recommendation from the Budget and Finance Committee?
No.
Ms. Kelly, Mr. Peoples?
No.
Mr. Hart?
No.
Okay. Do you need a motion from us to reject the bids, Ms. Flynn?
Yes, please.
Is there a motion to reject the bids and go back out at a different time?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes 5-0. So now we are down to item C of under old business, the 2019-2020 roadway improvement project, Azalea Place. Ms. Bukowski?
I have met with our city engineers. We are looking at redesigning the Azalea to better meet our needs from a one-way street. They will be presenting plans at their September meeting.
Okay. And then you want to do an update on the cemetery for us, please?
I'm very excited about the progress that we're making at the cemetery. We have segregated off the cemetery into gardens to better assist those who are looking for their loved ones. We will be bringing a landscape design to council as well as a wayfinding systems. And then we'll be bringing quotes in for ossuariums in September.
Excellent. Look forward to hearing and seeing the plans. We're under committee reports and recommendations. Nothing to report this month for budget and finance, but we will be rescheduling a meeting, correct?
For our budget and finance, Madam Mayor, if I may, under this item, talk about schedules for a workshop for our upcoming budget. This
Yeah.
is going to be a joint CRA and council. And so if everybody can look at their calendars, what I'm proposing at the moment would be August 20th.
You have a day, a time in mind?
I was looking at 5 p.m. so that we can have input from the outside and our organizations that generally come to us.
Will we be
Historically
doing,
speaking, that would have been a Florida League of Cities meeting. They're not meeting in August, right?
I do not believe so.
No.
Okay, so my date is clear that day. Is everyone else clear on the 20th?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
we're still gonna do the Zoom thing?
Yes.
Okay, because I might be in Virginia. I believe I have to take my daughter back that week. So, but I can do it from from the computer like we're doing now.
Yes.
I'm good.
Okay, excellent. Any other conflicts? Anybody else not able to make it? All right, so we have a workshop scheduled for August 20th at 5 p.m.
And I do have one other agenda item, Madam Mayor. It's kind of two birds with one stone. I was going to bring this up under City Manager's report. However, Labor Day falls on our City Council meeting. Typically, we schedule that meeting for the following Thursday by our council rules and regulations. So that would make that meeting September 10th. I would like to also make that a first hearing for our budget with a second hearing of September 22nd. Now,
Okay.
those are subject to change. I'm still waiting on the other entities to schedule their budget hearings.
So you want this meeting on a Thursday?
Our council meeting typically gets scheduled for the following Thursday, or at least that's what it says, unless otherwise stated.
Okay. I'm free. Is everybody else free? Mr. Brown?
I'm good.
Peoples, Mr. Martin, okay. So the September 10th, first hearing, is that also an evening meeting, Ms. Lynn?
That'll be at 6 p.m. And then the 22nd can be at 5:05.
Okay. Is that all you have under budget and finance, Ms. Bukowski?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Growth management, Vice Mayor Hart?
No report.
Thank you. Chairman Kirkland, Keystone Heights Airport Authority.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council members. Maria and I are still searching for funding for backup generators, one for our FBO and one for our fuel farm. Diane Schultz is assisting us with trying to obtain that funding. So that's something that's ongoing, and we were hoping to have that completed prior to hurricane season, but it is what it is, and we're still working to obtain those funds. We met with the Bradford County Manager and the DEO grant team a couple of weeks ago, and we're looking into alternate sources for funding the $1.19 million that the governor vetoed. It didn't make it through the budget process. And so as a team, we're looking to other state agencies to obtain that funding. Also, Chad Richard, who is the engineer of record, or DRMP is the engineer of record for Bradford County, is meeting with DOT District 2 and trying to find out if there's possible funding, half of that coming from DOT and then the other half from other sources. We'll have to report that today, actually, the Keystone Airport passed its annual Fdot Aviation inspection, and there were no issues to report or document. And I want to say a special thanks to our airport staff for making that happen. There's a lot of work that goes into that, and it's something that's required every year. And happy to report that the airport passed with flying colors. Maria has a few items that she's going to share with the council at this time.
Good evening, everyone. Just a few little updates. We are working on updating our stormwater prevention plan. That thankfully DOT once again provided us with a $30,000 grant to get that updated, and we hope to have that complete by the end of this month, so we can remain compliant. We did have, which happens, seems like once a year, we had our annual lightning strike last Sunday, and unfortunately suffered a few damages out here, one of them being our self-serve fuel farm. So we are working on getting that repaired as well. Lost our internet, lost our phone system. So we were down for probably about 3 days or 4 days. So that seems to set aside someone's calendar of to-dos. So we're getting back on track with that. We do want to thank you all, and especially working with Lynn on getting a special thanks for those laptops. I think that's really going to help us in our efforts as we move forward with our virtual meetings. And since those got a delay on those laptops, we have postponed our August meeting. Instead of tomorrow, we will be having our meeting on the 11th at 6 p.m. And I think that's all I have, unless anyone has any questions for us.
Any questions for Mr. Kirkland? Seeing none, we appreciate you being here as always. We look forward to a time when you really can open that gorgeous new FBO and show it off to everyone.
We're looking forward to that as well.
Yeah.
So thank you again for joining us. We appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Under committee reports, we have planning and zoning. Mr. Kowski, anything to report there?
Taco Bell is at the county now, waiting for their building approval. So we should see shovels in the ground within the next 30 to 60 days.
Excellent. Some happy hearts out there. We're listening to that news. Heritage Commission, Mr. Hart, do you have anything?
I think we've covered it, though. I'd certainly like to thank the council for going ahead with the pavilion. This has been a project that Heritage Commission now for about 10 years. It's great to see it happen.
Yep. It's unfortunate the circumstances that brought it, but there's a silver lining in every season, right?
That's right. So thank you, council.
Okay, under new business, Ms. Wachowski, would you like to address the interlocal agreement with Bradford County?
So this has been on the agenda for quite some time. I believe that we have finally come to an agreement on the interlocal agreement that's needed to put in the infrastructure at the Keystone Airport. And so this is something that we've talked about several times over. If you have any additional questions, I believe that the airport authority chairperson or manager, as well as Mr. Commando, can talk to the specifics of this agreement.
Mr. Kirkland, would you like to start?
Madam Mayor, I would like to say how much we appreciate Rich Commando in working with us and helping resolve some of the verbiage issues that were raised concerning this interlocal agreement. I think after now this is the second unquote final draft that we have finally obtained that. All of the parties have reviewed that and are in agreement. So thank you, Mr. Commando, and thank you, City Council, for approving the interlocal agreement. It's part of a required section of the DEO grant process. So thank you again for taking action on this tonight.
Mr. Commando, did you want to add anything?
No, I'm just glad we can finally move this forward. I think it'll be a great opportunity for the people that we lease to and the general airport as a whole.
Excellent. So are there any questions of Mr. Commando, Mr. Kirkland, Ms. Rakowski from council? No question?
No.
Then is it someone's pleasure to move this item this month? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, we move.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Peoples. All those in favor say aye.
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 This has only been on the agenda for almost a year. I'm happy to get that off.
Okay, are there any nays? Hearing none, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you again.
Thank you for being persevering. It was a long time to get that through. Under new business, we're setting the maximum millage rate for fiscal year ending 2020 and 2021. Ms. Rakowski, would you like to share some information?
Absolutely. All right, can everybody see that on your screen?
No.
No.
No?
No.
No.
No, what we say says streaming controls.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Let's see if we can't do this again.
Sometimes it likes it better the second time.
We shall see.
Although, I'll tell you what, Ms. Rakowski, it showed up on the YouTube feed.
Well, that brings a totally different obstacle. How are we now?
There we go.
go.
All right. Second time works. So tonight we are going to be setting our maximum millage rate so that staff can begin preparing a budget. In conversations countywide, and I think almost across the board, it seems to be the consensus that every agency, or almost every agency, is looking to stay at the millage rate that they are currently at. Our current millage rate is 4.2901. This is a breakdown of just specific revenues that are going to be impacted by the COVID-19, our loss of revenue. You can see that starting, we're going to skip the first line. Gas tax is going down quite a little bit. Communications tax is actually on the rise about $1,000. Our state shared revenue is down about $1,000, and then our half-cent sales tax is where we're seeing a majority of our hit, both this year, this current year, as well as next year. With that being said, property values have increased, and so we're looking at an anticipated revenue at 95%, which is all that we're allowed to budget for. At the current millage rate at 4.2901, we're looking at bringing in an estimated of $275,974.84. This is in compared to their current year being estimated at $264,913.68. And so this is just a rough starting point so that council can see where we're at. Tonight, if council would like to set the maximum, the highest millage rate that we will be going for our hearings, that way staff can start working on a budget.
Are there any questions of Ms. Rakowski about the maximum millage rate?
No.
I believe out of Budget and Finance, we recommended setting it at the maximum.
I believe the Budget and Finance Committee recommended setting the maximum millage rate at the current millage rate that we are for this fiscal year.
Great.
Any questions, Ms. Kelly?
No.
Mr. Peoples?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Hart?
Just clarification, you're not suggesting that we use the rollback rate. You're suggesting we use the same rate as we actually charged last year.
That's
4.901.
That's staff's recommendation, yes.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, is there a motion to set the maximum millage rate as the current rate?
So move.
I'll make the
I
motion.
second.
I'm sorry, Ms. Lynn, did you get the first and second?
I believe that it was Councilman Brown and Councilwoman Kelly as the first and second. Is that correct? All
I think
right.
so. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes 5-0. Council comments. Ms. Kelly, do you have any council comments this
Have
evening?
none, no.
Mr. Brown?
The only thing is I'm excited. My daughter in Virginia Beach is coming home for a couple of weeks this weekend and then back to school.
She's persevering, that's great. Mr. Hart?
I just wanted to personally and publicly thank Lynn for her diplomatic service. When the street corner gathering occurred a few days ago, I think she handled that beautifully.
Indeed. Thank you for that. Mr. Peoples?
No, ma'am, nothing.
Okay. I did want to thank a couple of groups because even though we're under a pandemic, there have been some things going on throughout the month. Ms. Miller, Ms. Rakowski, and myself attended a groundbreaking at County Road 214 and County Road 315 early in the month. I did participate in graduation, which was really different and very, very quiet. It was the quietest graduation I think I had ever experienced. We've done some volunteer work at Lake Area Ministries. Staff and I, Ms. Mikowski and I, walked neighborhoods with Sheriff Daniels this month. I believe we hit the other side of the elementary school. It was quite fun. And then we had a net meeting after the walk. I participated in a Santa Fe planing charrette, which is very interesting with other elected officials since it's my own employer. And then I'm continuing conversations with folks with Unite Keystone Heights. And last week we had a McRae food drive where we gave away $12,000 of food to 214 families. And there's another one at Keystone Elementary on August 15th. So I want to make sure people start to hear that information. And other than that, it's been quiet. Ms. Rakowski, do you have anything to report?
Yes, Madam Mayor. So if you drive downtown, you'll notice that we are under construction, and we will be under construction for quite some time. Keep this in mind as we approach the holidays. We will be missing sidewalks, and we will have lane closures from time to time as they start pouring our bulb outs. Some of the businesses, including City Hall, will be experiencing some water shutoffs for brief moments as we start moving utilities. However, the end result, I promise, will be well worth it. If you drive past City Hall, you can start to see our bulb outs take place, and I'm very excited. That's going to be very, very exciting as we become a safer city for our pedestrians to cross. We will be seeing our light posts come down here in the near future and our new ones to be put up. With that being said, City Hall will be open for early voting come the end of this week. I have been in touch with Fdot. They are going to remove our cones and pylons that we have out front so that we can utilize out front parking for our early voters, and they will be the first ones to use our brand new sidewalk. So keep that in mind. Over the next 2 weeks, we will be an early voting site. Other than that, Madam Mayor, I have nothing else.
It's a busy time for everyone. Mr. Commanda, do you have anything for us this evening?
Just only there's a strong push for everyone to complete the census paperwork. It's one of the ways that the city gets money. So as you run into citizens throughout your journeys, please encourage them to complete the census surveys. And then also before our next meeting, we've got the primary election. Also encourage your citizens to engage in their civic duty and exercise their right to vote on August 18th.
Excellent, excellent information. Is there anything else to come before us for the good of the order? Anyone have anything they'd like to share? Seeing none, I'll adjourn the meeting at 6:51.